Hi. I'm Shannon Watts. I'm 34 years old. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I'm pregnant with a baby boy. We live in Colorado. And now, I'm gone. This is my story. I didn't think it would ever need to be told. People called us the perfect family. The Facebook kind. The matching outfits, the holiday cards, the videos of my girls singing in the back seat. Everything looked beautiful. Peaceful. But peace can be a performance. Sometimes it hides a quiet panic. Chris and I met when I was broken. I had lupus. I'd just been through a divorce. I didn't trust anyone. But he did something rare. He waited. He was patient. He didn't flinch when I got sick. He stayed. And little by little, I let him in. When he proposed, I said yes because I believed in second chances. He made me feel safe again. He made me feel enough. We built a life in Frederick, Colorado. We had Bella. Then Celeste. My sweet little girls. We bought a 5-bedroom house with a yard. He got a steady job in the oil industry. I started working from home, in direct sales, Thrive. I was online a lot. Posting. Talking to people. Motivating women. If you scrolled through my feed, you'd see joy. Laughter. Success. Gratitude. But there are things I didn't post. Like how quiet Chris got over time. How he started pulling away, first in little ways. Fewer kisses. Less talking. The distance in his eyes. I chalked it up to stress. We were behind on our mortgage. Money was tight. Marriage gets hard, right? Still, I noticed. The last time I saw him really smile, not the polite smile, not the camera smile, was months ago. Then one day, I found out, he wasn't just distant. He was cheating. I didn't know her name yet. But I knew the signs. He started going to the gym religiously. He shaved his body hair, things he never cared about before. He kept his phone close. Too close. When I confronted him, he denied everything. Of course he did. But I could feel it. That weekend, I flew to Arizona for a business trip. I was 15 weeks pregnant. Tired. Stressed. But trying to stay hopeful. I texted him, telling him how much I loved him. Begging him to talk to me. To let me in. He barely replied. My friend Nicole picked me up from the airport on Sunday night. It was 2 a.m. when I walked through the front door. The house was dark. Silent. Chris was asleep. Or pretending to be. I climbed into bed beside him. He didn't move. I didn't know it then, but that was the last night of my life. The next morning, I missed a doctor's appointment. I didn't answer my texts. Or my calls. Nicole started to worry. She came to the house. Knocked. No answer. The car was in the driveway. My purse was inside. My phone. My keys. But no sign of me. Or the girls. She called the police. They broke into the house. Looked around. No blood. No mess. No struggle. Just a stillness. A hollow quiet. And Chris? He was calm. Too calm. He told them I'd left with the girls. That we had a fight. That I was emotional. But I wouldn't have just left. Not without my medications. Not without my wallet. Not with Bella and Cece in their pajamas. Something was wrong. Everyone knew it. They just didn't know how wrong. Not yet. I thought the worst thing Chris could do to me was lie. I was wrong. So very, very wrong. Have you ever had a dream where you're screaming, but no one hears you? That's what being dead feels like. Watching the world move on without you. Watching your husband pretend to look for you. They said Chris looked concerned. That he was cooperative. That he gave them permission to search the house, the garage, the phone. But concern has a rhythm. A pulse. A tremble. And Chris? He was hollow. No fear. No urgency. No heartbreak. Just words. Rehearsed ones. I don't know where she went. We had a disagreement, and she just left. She's hormonal. She's pregnant. He made me sound crazy. The police asked to see my phone. They read our texts. The late night pleading. My begging him to talk. The messages he ignored. They looked at the Ring doorbell footage. There I was, walking in at 1:48 a.m. Luggage in hand. Exhausted. Alive. And then, nothing. No footage of me leaving. No girls getting in a car. Just silence. Nicole, my best friend, she didn't let go. She pushed. She stood in our house, pointing at every little detail. She wouldn't leave her car. She wouldn't miss her appointment. Something's wrong. And she was right. Chris did interviews. He stood on our porch, hands folded, eyes down. He told the cameras he missed me. That he just wanted me back. That he loved his daughters. But the world saw it too. That tight jaw. That shallow breathing. That lack of tears. Love has texture. His words were sandpaper. Behind the scenes, police asked him to take a polygraph. He agreed. And he failed. Spectacularly. That's when they brought in the FBI. They sat him down. They didn't accuse. They spoke gently. Almost like therapists. Chris, something happened. We believe you're not telling us everything. We can help you. But you have to tell the truth. He hesitated. Then they brought in his father. Maybe you know this moment. When you've been caught. When the lie collapses. And all that's left is what you did. Chris turned to his dad and whispered. She hurt the girls. I had to do something. That was the lie he chose. That I had hurt them. That he only killed me out of rage. To protect them. A final betrayal. Even after death. He made me the villain. He said I killed our daughters. But I would never hurt them. Not even in my worst moment. I carried them. I lived for them. And now, I speak for them. Chris said I hurt our daughters. That was his story. But when the truth finally came out, it was darker than anyone imagined. It wasn't rage. It wasn't an accident. It was a decision. The full confession came a few days later. He told them everything. At 5 a.m. that morning, after I'd come home, we argued. I begged him to talk. To be honest. To stop hiding. He straddled me in bed. Put his hands around my throat. And pressed. I didn't scream. The girls were down the hall. I didn't want to wake them. I just stared into his face as he took the life out of me. The last thing I saw was the man I loved, watching me disappear. He wrapped my body in a sheet. Then he went to the girls' bedroom. Bella and Celeste were still alive. He put them in the truck. Along with me. Along with a shovel and a gas can. They asked him, did the girls know? He said nothing. But later, he admitted that Bella asked him, is mommy okay? She sat inches away from my body. Chris drove them to the oil field where he worked. 45 minutes. 2 children and a dead woman in the back seat. And he stayed silent the entire way. At the site, he smothered Celeste with her own blanket. Then he dropped her body into a narrow oil tank. It was only 8 inches wide. Then he turned to Bella. She fought back. She screamed. She bit her tongue. She said, "Daddy, no." He killed her too. Then dropped her body into the second tank. She was 4 years old. He buried me in a shallow grave nearby. Covered us all with dirt, oil, steel, and lies. Then he drove home. Took a shower. Did laundry. Texted coworkers. Acted normal. He thought he could erase us. But the truth has weight. And it doesn't stay buried. The police recovered our bodies 3 days later. Autopsies confirmed what happened. He had planned everything. The affair. The cover story. The lies. He even looked up how much oil it would take to dissolve a body. He wanted a new life. No wife. No kids. No responsibilities. Just freedom. And her. The trial was quick. Chris Watts was sentenced to 5 life sentences, no chance of parole. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. He will never see the outside of a prison again. But that doesn't change what he did. It doesn't bring us back. It doesn't undo what my daughters felt in their final seconds. It doesn't clean the oil from their skin. People called this a crime of passion. A tragedy. A failure of love. But it wasn't love. It was selfishness. Cowardice. The ugliest form of control. Chris didn't just take our lives. He took our story and tried to rewrite it. He wanted to be the victim. He wanted people to believe I was unstable. That the girls were better off gone. He almost pulled it off. But truth leaves a trail. I was a mother. A sister. A daughter. A friend. I had lupus. I had fears. I had flaws. But I loved. I lived for my children. And I died with them. That's the truth. And it deserves to be told. If you believe real stories should never be silenced, subscribe. More true cases are coming. True crime. Real voices. One episode at a time.